to the cloud. And we're recording. Woo! Give it up. I figured out how to do something new on a Mac. Yay!
Thaddeus, get in here.
Oh my gosh. Anybody a Mac user? Where are my Mac users?
It is bedtime. You either get up here or you can go to your bed.
Oh my gosh. I am like so lost when it comes to Mac. So anyway. All right. So I'm going to have you guys mute yourselves. Okay. So just click your little microphone and mute. And like I said, we are going to do a short survey. And I want you guys to be honest, okay, when I ask you guys these questions, okay? So it's not, you're not going to share these with anybody else. That's why I want true 100% honesty with each answer of these questions, okay? Now, some of you, I may pick on you and ask you to answer, but we'll see. Okay, so again, we're trying to figure out whether our business is sizzling or fizzling. All right, so let me just go through this beginning and then I'll start asking you the questions. Do you really want bookings? Have you tried hard enough to get bookings, or do you just know how, or do you just not know how to do it? The answer is that bookings are 90% will, okay? So anytime we're talking about things with Pampered Chef, you're gonna hear will versus skill sometimes. Sometimes we don't have the skills necessary in order to, let's say, product, or let's say recruit somebody, or let's say book a show. But most of the time it's going to be our will that stops us. Okay, our will meaning our willpower. If you don't have the number of bookings on your calendar that you are happy with, you just have not asked enough people. All right, so I want you to put the word yes or no in front of each of these statements I'm going to read. And at the end, I want you to see what you were seeing about the sheet that you filled out. So are you seeing mostly yeses? Or are you seeing mostly nos? Then your challenge is, I'm going to post this later. Okay, so don't feel like you need to write all these questions down. I'm going to post the sheet, and your challenge is to take these yeses to, or these no's to a yes, okay? Meaning that we want to convert all of our no's over to yeses. So, all right, here's the questions. Do you know your next 2 available party dates off the top of your head? The next 2 dates that you're available to do a party, do you know those? Yes or no? Brittany, you're not frozen on my side. Do you have a catalog on you right now? Now, most of you are home, so do you have it in your purse, in your backpack, or in your car? In any of those 3 areas? Do you have a Pampered Chef recipe card or business card to hand out to everyone? Sometimes instead of using a printed business card, we also suggest, getting a pack of recipe cards. They're 30 in a pack, and they're great. Pop a little label on there and hand those out as a business card instead of actually making or purchasing business cards. Did you read the last STIR email completely? And if you have to ask me what STIR is, then the answer is definitely going to be no, right? So for those of you that are like, oh shoot, I'm busted. STIR is the email they send out once a week to your email, just with like weekly updates from home office. Have you made customer care calls in the last 2 weeks? So these are, you're funny, Brittany. So customer care calls is just following back up with your customers that you've sold products to, anybody that you kind of interacted, maybe you had a lead at a vendor show. So that's going to be your customer care. Maybe you sold cash and carry and were able to get their information. Do you do MAC calls? For those of you guys that don't know what a MAC call is, they're the morning after the party calls, okay, for good customer service. So do you do them, yes or no? This one's interesting. This is one that for me is huge. Do you have your Pampered Chef goals written down and in front of you? My philosophy on goals is that if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, you're never going to achieve it, right? So if you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know. Hello, Miss Ray. Welcome. Hello. So for those of you guys that don't know Ray, I don't even know Ray. I've just taken on Ray as our hospitality. She's actually one of Gray Spot's consultant, Marianne, her downline. So she's a part of the whole Gray Spot family. And so I've been asked to do hospitality for her since she lives down in West Virginia. So welcome, a big welcome to you. So we're just going through and doing this short survey. So if you have a piece of paper handy, you can grab that. And basically it's just a yes or no. We're just answering these questions. All right, so goals, back to goals. Do you have your Pampered Chef goals written down? So like I started to say, if you don't know what your goals are, it's really kind of hard to go after something if you have no clue what you're reaching for, okay? For me, I always make my big, hairy, audacious goals, you know, our BHAG, and I always get laughed at when I talk about it. But, you know, it's okay to set a goal. I believe in setting a big goal because big goals drive me a little bit more than what a small, like, attainable goal would. So for me, I'm the kind of person that, like, wants to shoot for the moon when I go for something. So I would tell you that, you know, if your goal is $500 in sales, stretch it out, make it like $750, okay? Don't work for minimums, okay? Too many of us have a minimum mindset. And so when we have a minimum mindset, that's all we ever reach for is the minimum, okay? I want you guys to grow and reach for the maximum. Have you shared your Pampered Chef goals with someone to hold you accountable? So this can be me as your director. This could be your upline if you're not one of my personal team members. This could be your husband or boyfriend or partner. This could be your best friend. As long as someone knows what your goals are, someone that's actually going to hold you accountable to them. Do you make attending our monthly meeting a priority? Meaning that it is marked on your calendar. It is always the second week or second Monday of every month. I never change the date unless it falls on a holiday. So it's always going to be the second Monday of the month. Do you have that marked on your calendar? And is it a priority for you? If your business is a priority, then our meetings should be just as much of a priority. I like this one. Do you have a positive attitude? Attitude is everything, right? Your attitude is going to equal your altitude. So if you have a bad attitude about your business, do you think you're going to get very positive results in your business? Probably not. But I would tell you, if you have a positive attitude about your business, most likely you're going to be able to stretch and grab and gain good altitude with your business. Have you gone outside of your comfort zone to promote Pampered Chef? Ooh, this one for some people can be a stretch. Most of us like to stay within our comfort zone. Most of us work within this little box. I say dip your toe in the water and kind of stick it out there a little bit because it's time to stretch. If you want to be a success at anything in life, you're never going to do it inside your comfort zone. Progress is always going to be outside of your comfort zone. Do you track your sales? This one's interesting. How many of you track your sales? Do you know where to find your sales? And if you don't know where to find your sales, I guarantee you can go to the WOLFPACK team page, up in the search bar, type up there, consultant connection, And it's going to pull up a graphic for you that'll help you find where your sales are located. Have you shared your goals with your director? So it's one thing to share them with somebody else, like an accountability partner. It's another thing for me to know them. Why is it important for me to know them? Because who else has done this business for 6 years and works it daily? You know, I'm the one that can kind of help you when you're stuck. I'm the one that can offer ideas and suggestions. I'm the one that's walked in your shoes. Do you know how many points it takes to earn each level of the incentive trip?
Not.
Just with a quick show of hands, how many of you guys feel like the incentive trip is out of your reach? By a quick show of hands. Okay. That's good because we're going to start working on that. Do you wear Pampered Chef logo everywhere you go? Pampered Chef logo wear. Do you have logo wear on you in some form or fashion, whether it be a shirt, whether it be a hat, a purse, a pin? This one's interesting. Have you tried a new Pampered Chef recipe in the last month?
Yes.
It's always good to learn new recipes, right? But more so, it's more important to learn the new recipes and share them with other people when you're trying out a new recipe. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Do you post a picture on Facebook when you make Pampered Chef recipes?
No.
During a Pampered Chef party, and this can be cooking show or it can be virtual, do you mention hosting at least 3 times by using the words free or talking about the half price combos? Maybe by starting their own business. Are you genuinely excited about our products to use at your parties?
Absolutely.
If you're not, why is anybody else going to be, right? Do you tell your story at all of your parties? And again, this applies to cooking shows or virtual parties. And the next question, do you even know what your story is?
Of course.
Believe it or not, some people don't know what their story is, you know? Those of you guys that went to national conference with me this past week, hopefully you guys got a really good idea of what your story may look like now, because didn't we hear some phenomenal stories there, guys? Oh my God.
Conference was awesome.
It was the best conference I've been to in 6 years.
Be a live feed.
Does your voicemail greeting let people know that you're a Pampered Chef consultant? You guys would not believe how many times I've had people leave me voicemails, you know, teachers from the school or somebody from the doctor's office. And because I have Pampered Chef consultant on my voicemail, I've gotten orders. I've even got a booking from it before. And same thing for my email. I have my return, you know, the bottom piece. My brain's not functioning, but I have that set with all of my business information on the bottom of it. So when I send an email, it automatically sends my Pampered Chef information to them. Do you know how to give yourself a 2% raise? We all like raises, right? Anybody like raises? Raises mean more money. Raises mean more money, more wine if you're me, more coffee sometimes. More free products, more dinners that I don't have to cook. Just joking. Do you offer the business opportunity to everyone?
I'll try.
Do you follow up on every lead within 24 to 48 hours? This includes bookings and new team members. Do you set a certain time each week to do host coaching calls and or call potential hosts?
Absolutely.
Do you share the types of parties that the different types of parties that you offer? Maybe I'm excited to share some of these theme parties I offer. Mexican Fiesta, Healthy in a Hurry. My favorite would be Death by Chocolate. Or maybe do you talk about our fundraisers or our Facebook shows, our bridal showers, not just regular everyday run-of-the-mill cooking shows. Have you visited Pampered Chef University in the last month for new training?
Absolutely.
Woohoo! Ray is on it. I can tell she's a gray spot girl.
I try.
Do you know what the host specials are for the next 2 months?
I do, but I wasn't really impressed.
Not impressed.
No. I mean, they had the kids set, and that's all well and good, but you can't beat the executive cookware.
Yeah. There's
Really.
there's always, like, we all have our favorite products, It's
Yes.
I think what's always important to remember when we're booking shows is not to put the focus so much on the monthly host special. For me,
Right.
I always stress the importance of the 50% off items more than I talk about the monthly part of it, because they can always get anything that they want for half price.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so do you know what this month's new consultant special is? So if somebody were to join your team, do you know what they would get if they hit $12.50 in sales in their first 30 days?
I do not.
Do you have your party schedule set for the next month by the 15th of the present month? Okay, so meaning that, are you booked for September by August 15th? And the reason why you get yourself into this habit is because it allows you time, if you have cancellations, to react to it. Do you know what it takes to promote a level?
Sell, recruit, and promote.
The 3 things that we do. Do you love your job?
Absolutely.
Are you willing to make it sizzle?
I'll give it everything I have.
All right, girls. So I want you guys to glance down your yes and no's. Now, are you a sizzle or are you a fizzle?
Sizzle.
Anybody want to share what they are? Ray said she's a sizzle. You go, girl.
3 contacts a day. 5, 15, and 5.
Absolutely. Anybody want to share? Is anybody sizzling along with Ray? And if you're not, that's okay. It just means we have work to do, right? And what it shows me is the ones that are on here right now are the ones that are ready to work on it. So at the close of this little survey, I want to leave you guys with this. Success is never owned. It is rented. And the rent is due every day. Okay? None of us can be successful by not working at it. You know, none of us are handed this little bag that says, hey, Laura, you're going to be successful. Here you go. Have a phenomenal Pampered Chef business. You'll never have to work a day in your life. You'll never have to pick up the phone ever again. You're going to have all the bookings you need for the next 20 years. You're going to have all the recruit leads you need for the next 20 years. You're going to have to work on it every single day in order to have a successful business. Okay. Nobody is ever handed that gift, whether it be Pampered Chef, another direct sale company, any workforce that you're going to be in, you have to work for it in order to achieve it. Okay. And so the rent, meaning that the results are due every day. By working for it, you're going to get those results every single day. Every day you go forward, you're going to see more and more results. So let's talk. You guys can all unmute yourselves. So we're going to talk for a couple of minutes about some strategies for August, because I have a feeling that if we looked at our calendars right now, for the most part, it sounds like we're probably not where we want to be. And so what are some ways that we can work through August and get our calendars where we need them to be? Okay, because today is only the 9th, right? And we have like 21 more days, which means we have 3 more weeks left of the month to get sales. So I want you guys to write down what your goal is for this month, because if you don't know what your goal is, like we talked about in the beginning, then you have nothing that you're reaching for. So what are you striving for this month? Is it $750 in sales to get that whipped cream maker? Is it $1,500 in sales to pay a car payment? Is it $3,000 a month, $3,000 this month to pay, you know, I don't know, a bigger bill? Is it $3,000 this month and maybe recruiting somebody and starting your team? What does your goal look like? Okay. Because I'll tell you, if you know in the beginning of the month what your goal is, now you know how many shows you have to book in order to help you reach that goal, right? So if you have no idea, let's say it's the beginning of the month and I'm starting off and I have no idea what sales I want to reach. You think I'm going to be very gung-ho about trying to book my schedule up? Probably not, because I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish this month. So I challenge you guys to get yourselves in the habit of the 31st of every month, sitting down, looking at your calendar for the next month and figuring out exactly what you want from your Pampered Chef business. Okay. So what are some ways that we can go after August sales still? So for most of us, school is either getting ready to start or has already started if you're Laura. Poor Laura. So you can definitely approach freezer meal workshops, okay, whether it be in your home or outside of your home. You can go after all of those tools that are going to help moms put, you know, their get lunch together quickly. So like the crust or the, oh my God, my brain is like totally fried tonight.
The seal and press.
Thank you. Yeah, that thing. Oh my gosh. The Twix-It clips, you know, whatever it is. Go after all of those items that would help a mom. But here's some other things I want you guys to consider. So how many of you guys have sold any cookware in your career with Pampered Chef so far?
I have.
Okay. And so most of us have probably either sold it as a monthly host special, meaning like 60% off of the double burner grill pan, 60% off of the regular grill pan. So what I want you to do is when we get off of this call or tomorrow, I want you to pull your order history. And to do that, you're going to go onto Consultant's Corner You're going to go into the second tab, which I think is selling and recruiting. You're going to go down to history and reports or item history. I can't remember exactly what the words are. And then it's going to let you pull an item number, or you can pull it by category and actually see what you've sold of a certain item. So what you're going to be looking for are those people that you've sold cookware to, okay? Most of us haven't sold the sets of cookware because they're pretty pricey, but some of us have sold those single pieces of cookware. And so this month in August, of course, we know that when they collect $200 in orders, then they can get a piece of executive cookware for 60% off, right? And so let's say maybe you've sold an 8-inch saute pan to someone. By now they know whether they love, or I can't see them not loving. Now they know that they love our Pampered Chef cookware. And so it's the perfect time to give them a call and say, hey, Tiffany, this is Becky with the Pampered Chef. I'm just calling to follow back up with you and see how you're liking your 8-inch saute pan you bought a while back. And then Tiffany's going to say, oh my gosh, Becky, I love my 8-inch saute pan. And then I'm going to say, well, guess what, Tiffany? Would you love to add to your collection this month? And then that's when you're going to lead in. That's when you're going to lead into the conversation about cookware being 60% off. You know, would she like to add on the 12-inch family skillet? Would she like to add on the double burner grill pan? You know, what's another piece that we could add to her collection? Or would she like to get the whole set now for 60% off, right? Most people test us. They test out our cookware when they're uncertain of the price, because it's kind of like, whoa, that's sticker shock. And so they buy like the 8-inch saute or the 10-inch saute, see how they like it, and then maybe later will be a better time for them to purchase the whole set, right? And so now with it being on sale, this is the perfect time for them to buy the whole set. So all you would need to do is say, well, Ray, I would love to put that, 5-piece executive cookware in your kitchen right now for 60% off. Would you like to hear more about that? And so, of course, Ray's going to be like, oh my gosh, I would love to. And so you can either offer, let's say, I know some of you guys are virtual only consultants. So you can offer a virtual show for them, again, talking about how easy it is that, really it's one of the easiest shows around for them to do a virtual party. Would they like to get their friends and family together for a wine, cheese, and chocolate night? Again, remember, offer an experience. Don't just offer a show. You want to offer an experience. Okay. People, especially now with thinking about school starting and sports starting and all these things starting, we're thinking we're getting the panic button start to set in our minds. Okay. So we're really kind of like, when you say party, that sounds like work. But when you say a wine, cheese, and chocolate night, that sounds like fun. So we need them to remember the fun side of it, not the work side of it. So this is where we want to tweak our language just a little bit and talk about the fun side of it. Or you could just say, well, you know what? How about I send you a couple catalogs and you collect a couple $100 in orders for me? And then guess what? You're going to get that set of cookware for 60% off. It doesn't sound like work, right? I'm sure she could get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of her friends to place an order, and then she's going to get what she wants in return for it. So that would definitely be one way that I would be exploring right now, especially with it being so early in the month. You still have plenty of time to reach out to people, but the key is for you to actually pick up the phone and give them a buzz.
Back to basics.
Exactly, back to basics. Tiffany, stop yawning. Okay, so what's another way that we can entice people right now? Well, if you guys know me and most of you guys are like in my group and all over Facebook with me, I'm always cooking up a storm. Lately, I haven't been because I've been kind of busy, but I will be. And taking tons of food pics, So what product do you think I'm going to be using in my kitchen for the next week or so? It's going to be cookware, right? It's definitely going to be cookware. So I'm going to be making every meal probably in my 12-inch family skillet. I'll be making my desserts in the 12-inch family skillet. Because when you show them that pot is just not for cooking, you can actually bake a cake in the oven with it, they're going to be sold and they're going to want it in their kitchen. So you're going to tell a story. It's all about telling a story and getting desire built for them, for the product. And so the way you're going to do that is make them drool, Okay, you need to have this little puddle that they got to clean up after they see your food pictures. How many of you guys have shows in August?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So how many of you guys have cooking shows in August?
I do.
Okay, are they before the 15th or after the 15th?
Before.
Before?
And a pamper your business.
Awesome. And so one of my little tips for you would be at your next cooking show, if it's before the 15th, because again, I'm trying to leave you with enough time that you would have time to fill your calendar on the backside. So everybody that comes and sits down and does checkout with you, because you're going to use cookware most likely at your party, right?
Right. Fajitas.
Okay. So what we want to do is ask those people, oh my gosh, are you in love with our cookware? How would you love to have a piece of it for 60% off this month? How about I send you with 5 order forms? Maybe you don't want to host a party and that's fine. How about I send you with 5 order forms? You can collect 5 orders and then guess what? You get to pick a piece of cookware for 60% off.
Huh.
Again,
That's a great idea.
Make it easy for them, right? Hold on, let me flip my light on. It got dark on me. So what are some ideas you guys can come up with real quick? What are some ways that we could add some extra shows for August?
Offer incentive prizes for anybody who hosts a show that day, as well
Okay.
as the host gets a 50% discount from their show.
Okay, so offer extra incentives for people to book shows. Absolutely. I would say most of us have some kind of Pampered Chef laying around, right? Some of us more than others that we could definitely use, get rid of, you know? So that's one way that you can get rid of it. Plus, it's a tax write-off then. Poor Jody. Are you falling asleep? You poor thing. I feel so bad.
It's a long week.
I know, and you're so tired, I can tell. Where'd Thaddeus go? All right. So what are some other ways, guys? What do you think, Tiffany?
I don't know. My brain's still frying for conference.
Her brain's fried. I can definitely sympathize. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, why did I volunteer to do a pop-up training tonight when my brain is still like, ah! Okay, so once you have the shows, what's the next step? What is the next thing that we got to focus on?
Host coaching.
Host coaching. Absolutely. Host coaching is critical, okay? Especially right now going into fall. So I want you guys to think about it this way. Would you rather do 10 $200 shows, meaning $2,000 in sales, or would you rather do $2,000 shows? I'm lazy, so I'm always going to go with the one that's less work, right? It's just going to be the 2 shows, $2,000 shows. So every time we want to start thinking about host coaching, this is what I want you guys to remember. I want you to write this down. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
Host coaching is where you make the money. The show is where you pick up your paycheck.
That makes sense.
Make sense? All of the work that you do on the front side of your show is where you are making your money, guys.
And that's why I was out for an hour and a half delivering host packets and couldn't Zoom.
That's okay, because you were working, girl. How many of you guys, I want a quick show of hands, and I want you to be honest with me. How many of you guys consistently meaning every time you do a party, whether it be virtual or a cooking show, give your host a host packet. Quick show of hands.
Do now.
Now I do.
Whether it be a virtual party or cooking show, they both get a host packet. So some people would say, well, why give a host packet to your virtual shows?
'Cause they still collect orders.
That's exactly right. And what happens when your virtual party is a flop party? You can still have a successful party when they've collected orders, right?
Yep.
So that's called putting your host to work for you versus the other way around. And so if you're not doing it, Tiffany, you weren't doing it for a long time, right? And what kind of results are you getting now, Tiffany?
Better than what I was, but I didn't think I was doing too bad not getting those packets.
Tiffany, tell everybody what kind of shows you had last month.
Banging.
Banging ain't the word.
I had a 900 and almost 1,000. It was like 925, and then $1,202.
2 virtual parties. That's just 2 virtual parties. Did she do anything special? Tiffany, did you do anything special or different with these 2 virtual parties?
It gave my whole packet. No.
You just followed our system, right?
I did, but I probably could have done better.
Well, I think you did a pretty awesome job, sister.
Thank you.
Okay. So now that we've talked about some ideas and ways to get our August kind of booked up, we have like 15 minutes left. How many of you guys had a chance to watch Claudia's video earlier today that I posted? Anybody watch it? It was 6 minutes.
Not yet.
I watched it.
Okay. If you haven't watched it, I challenge you to watch it. It takes 6 minutes. That's all it is. Literally 6.00, not even 6.01. 6 minutes. She actually does. It's so funny. It's so funny to talk about that me and her, like 5 years ago, you know, we met at our very first trip to San Diego, and we were talking about, you know, I was the seller at that time and she was the recruiter, and we were picking each other's brains, and we talked about like our systems, and one of my biggest was my calendar, or as somebody likes to call it, my Bible. This is Becky's Bible. It goes everywhere Becky goes. And the reason for that is I always need to know when I can work, right? And so planning your calendar out is crucial, especially when you're talking about, let's say, Jody and Becky, you guys have full-time jobs. Ray, do you have a full-time job also?
I do not.
Okay, so you're doing Pampered Chef as your full-time job?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I know, Nikki, you work during the school season. Laura's like me and stays at home. Heather and Chris, you guys have full-time jobs. So it's really important, especially for you guys that are working, to know your Pampered Chef business. If you don't know that, it's kind of hard to plan work, life, and Pampered Chef all in the same breath, okay? So what I challenge you guys to do, and this is how you're going to get into the drawing for this Zoom. This is your homework. You guys ready for this? I want you guys to print out for August. Go onto Google. Her video will make it be a little bit, it'll make a lot more sense when you actually watch the video. I want you to go onto Google. I want you to print out 4 weeks worth of blank calendars. Okay, you can print out the Monday through Saturday calendar that's blank. So the weekly calendar, I want you to print that out, 4 weeks worth. And those calendars have it like 7 a.m. to like midnight or something. Okay, so it's actually an hourly, weekly calendar.
Should be top shelf.
And so what I want you guys to do is I want you to sit down with your spouse or whoever's important to you in your life, and I want you to plan out what your business, where your business falls in your calendar. Okay? I want you to first put on your family, because family is number one, right? So whatever obligations you have for your family, that comes first. And block that out. Claudia does hers in yellow because it's like sunny and happy. So we'll just stick with yellow. Leave yourself some personal time, okay? So a couple hours of personal time each week. I don't care what you do with that personal time. Maybe it's your time to take a nap. I don't care what the time is, okay? Leave like 2 hours every week for yourself. This is where you don't work. This is where you do you. And do that in pink.
Pink.
So somewhere on that weekly calendar, yes, Tiffany, you're laughing because I now have to figure out where I'm going to put Becky time at because I don't do it.
No, Patrick just did a dance for me.
Oh, Lord. Tiffany needs to go get her feet done.
How we like to spend our personal time.
Okay. So then I want you to take orange, and if you have a full-time job, I want you to block off your work hours on the calendar. And then I want you to take green, and I want you to figure out when your Pampered Chef party days are. Green
Every
means
day.
money, right? Green is money. We need to know when you want to work.
What color was personal?
Personal is yellow. Or no, like my
Pink.
time, like me time is pink.
Pink.
Me time is pink. Family time is yellow. Work time, like if you have a full-time job, is orange. Your Pampered Chef party time is green. And then I want you to schedule one more thing. I want you to take a blue marker and mark off some office time for yourself once a week, at least once a week. Some of us, if you're doing this full-time, you're going to need more office time. If you're doing the kind of show schedule that I'm doing, 10 to 12 cooking shows a month, you're definitely going to need more than a couple hours a week. Does that sound overwhelming?
Does.
Does it?
I already do that in my planner.
That's good. That's really
So
good.
are we just doing a month?
I want you to do the month of September. Or wait a minute, where are we at? Yeah, do the rest of the month of August. So there's 3 weeks left of August. So do the 3 weeks left of August and the first week of September. So what this is going to do is if you get yourself in the habit of knowing when you can work and when you need family time and when you need me time and when you have work, all of this, it will just get you into much more of a cohesive pattern for yourself. And my philosophy is this, guys. So I want you to know when you can do Pampered Chef parties for this reason. I do parties Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every weekend, right? Everybody knows on this team, I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's my party days. So what happens when I get to a week where I don't have a party on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? Do I work? Or I say, hey, I got the day off. I'm not doing anything. Whoop, whoop. Is that what I do?
No.
No. I have already allotted this time that I'm going to work, and so I am going to work. If I don't have a show on my schedule, there is a reason why I don't have a show on my schedule, right? Either I've had cancellations or I've done a terrible job host coaching and those shows didn't stick. There's a reason. And so my tail needs to be on the phone, making phone calls, getting my schedule back to where I know I need it to be. And so if I know on my calendar I am designated to work, my family then knows when my work hours are, right? Because again, this is something you're going to pair up and work with your partner on. Okay, this is something you guys are going to mutually talk about and decide what your work hours look like versus your family life, your work life, your me time. So if they know about it, there's no arguing there when you say, you know what, I need this time. This is my office time. You know what, my work time. I need to work. This has already been a discussion you've had. So you have to be accountable to that then. I am accountable to my Bible, right? To my calendar. So it's just a really good discipline for you guys to get yourself into. You know, Laura, you do another business along with this one. There's no reason why you can't, you know, kind of tie those two up together so that you're not running around crazy being like, oh my God, which business am I going to work on? Ah! You know, designate it on your calendar. Make it easier for yourself. But what I don't want you guys doing, because trust me, after 6 years of doing this, you sometimes will hit a wall where you get a little burnt out. I don't want you to burn yourselves out. And that's partially why I'm asking you guys to do this, because I want you to have time for yourself. I want you to have time for your family, which is most important. If you do nothing but work your full-time job and work Pampered Chef and leave no time for anything else in your life, what do you think is going to happen?
Burn out.
You're going to burn out. Your husband or wife are not going to be happy husband or wife, I promise you. Your kids won't know who you are. And Becky did too much of that for 10 years. That Becky doesn't do that anymore. All right. So today is Wednesday. You guys have until Sunday to get your calendar done for the next 4 weeks, figured out, color coded. Okay. And then I want you to post it on our WOLFPACK team page by Sunday night at 10 p.m. Now, my rules this time are Becky is not messaging anybody to say, hey, is your homework done? Becky's not doing that this time. So either it's posted or it's not posted. If it's posted by 10 p.m. Sunday night, you're going to be entered in to win a fall product for free. Who would like to have a fall product?
Me.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. So homework done. What time?
10 p.m. your
10
time.
p.m. Sunday. Okay. And what is Becky not doing this time?
Reminding anyone.
That's exactly right. Now, if you have questions, you know I'm just a message away, a phone call away, or whatever away to ask questions. But I'm telling you, if you watch the video that I posted of Claudia earlier today, it'll all make sense to you. All right. Does anybody have any questions before I leave you?
No questions, but I booked another party.
Woo! I should do a flash dance right now. Not really. Just joking.
I just want to say thank you for including me.
Absolutely, Ray. I can't wait to meet you in person. Ray, you live down in Eastwood or or in Martinsburg?
In between.
In between? Okay. Awesome. Well, one of our
We'll
girls,
do conference next year.
that will be awesome. One of our girls, Angelica, that's on our team, she lives down in Martinsburg, and she said that you can carpool up to our team meeting on Monday with her.
All right, have her PM me or message me on Facebook. I'll accept her request, and we'll go from there.
Sounds perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right, guys. Well, if you have any more questions, let me know. Reach out to me in message or some form of like Morse code. I don't know, some way. I do have some time tomorrow in the evening. If anybody needs a Zoom or a phone call, let me know. Other than that, I do have a birthday party Friday evening. I promise I'm not ignoring you. I'm having both Isaac and Maddie's birthday parties Friday night. And then I have a show Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Jody, go take a nap now, sweetheart.
I plan to.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You have a good night.